Hey folks, it's Lindsey Huddleston with SPS back in the building over at the Detroit Pizza Bar for a Championship Sunday. This is a special edition today, always sponsored by the Detroit Wayne Integrated Health Network. Shout out to them and Miss Kenya Ruth, who's in the building as well. But this is the Coaches Wives Club. That's right. These great women behind these men who are out here, slaying these dragons, but behind them are great women supporting them all the way. Kateena's here, nodding her head, saying, yeah, I got Miss Kateena Rickman right here in the building. Good to see you. Thank you for coming out.
Thank you for having me.
Great. You are the wife of Rickman, but that's the last time we will talk about him in this interview. This is all about you. He won the state championship with Ferndale High School, and he's made many attempts to get there, so I can only imagine what you've gone through. I told you offline that as a former Marine, I remember being in boot camp, and my drill instructor came and said, man, my wife know all about you, meaning you know the stories of these young men and these young women and what's going on. It's so important. So tell me, what has your experience been like being the wife of an outstanding head coach?
It's been great, but it has been challenging at times, only because just starting out, us being young, I didn't know what that really entailed. So I can recall a time where they had a banquet and the kids kind of spoke about how they looked up to him and how he's made a huge impact within their lives, just not as their coach, but like a father figure. And so that right there, I was tearing up and was just like, oh my God, like that's beautiful. And this is just bigger than just being a coach. It's changing lives. Is impacting young men to be great in the world as they go on and graduate from high school.
So at that banquet, when they was talking about him and tearing over him, were you like, who y'all talking about?
I did kind of look like, what? No,
Ron is in the building, by the way. He's cool about it. He's smiling about it. But, seriousness, that gave you a different perspective. Now, before we go on into that, you are successful in your own right. And I think that's another thing people miss. They make the assumption that, oh, you're just behind him, running by him, but you're a successful professional in the healthcare world. Tell us your role at HIPA right now.
So I'm in community outreach, and I also do sponsorships within the community. So we build partnerships with organizations that are making an impact, and we fund those certain events that they have. So it's just really been a widespread of just putting our foot, making an imprint of just spreading the word about how healthcare is very important, especially with people being on Medicaid. A lot of people don't know how to use those benefits. So you kind of have to, walk them every step of the way, which I love to do, because once they understand the importance of going to the doctor and taking care of their health, then they're able to understand just making sure that they're taking care of themselves is the main thing, and also spreading that word with other people in their household or just in the community itself.
Yeah. Well, I love the fact that you say you like doing that. My mom is a senior. Shout out to my mom, Patricia England. She was over on the east side. I was just with her. And having someone like yourself who can be helpful on the phone as opposed to being a problem. How does your skill set that's helped you be successful professionally still help you be able to be a great supporter of your husband in this program and his work?
So I just take it full circle and just make sure that I am just assessing everything, and I just take it in full fledged. I make sure I give it my all, as if it was just my baby, if it was my brand, because we are together and we have that partnership. Whatever he's doing and making an impact, I'm all about as well. But I just feel like we have that dynamic dual type of relationship, and I just love what he do, and I love doing the same thing. So it just goes hand in hand.
Oh, that's great. That's great. Again, the issues that I've been talking about with this three-part series has been NIL, which is name, image, and likeness, the portal, and mental health. Even though in your profession you're not dealing with that, when you listen to these issues and you hear about people getting all these deals and jumping in the portal and the mental health issues, just what's your perspective from being someone who's somewhat in the background, but hearing the things that your husband deals with on a day-to-day basis?
I just think that if they have a certain advocate, that support system, whether it's a friend or a coach or a teacher or a mentor that has knowledge about, the things that they may be getting into. A lot of people don't talk about mental health, especially in the Black community. So just touching on that is very important. Getting therapy, we don't think is important to get therapy, but because of the trauma and different things that we experience from childhood, even just in an adult stage, it's very important because everybody handles it differently, and they, it could really send them off off the deep end. And so we don't want that. So just even with me being in the community, I'm making sure that I'm telling them about all the services that's available to them, whether they're under my health plan or a different health plan. Make sure they utilize that, because all of that is free and coverage for them that they may not have access to or know about that they have access to.
Great, and I appreciate that you having that health background, particularly in mental health. I'm going to be speaking to BCAM. Your husband's familiar with this group, Basketball Coach Association of Michigan, and the same things I talked to you about, I'll be addressing with them. But what advice would you give someone who is a young coach, newly married, been married, but looking at getting into coaching? What advice would you give their spouse or their partner if the young man or young woman is saying, yeah, I'm getting ready to start coaching, and they're there with their spouse and their partner? What kind of insight would you give them? Not just because the coach is getting ready to be doing X's and O's and have a new team, but this partner is going to be. What kind of advice would you give them?
Are you sure you want to do this? No.
Wow, just grabbing his head like, man.
No.
But that's fair, though. I mean, let's keep. They say there's some truth in every joke, right?
Yes, it is. As I said before.
Why would you say? Why would you? In the serious note, why would you say? Why would you caution them about doing it?
Because it's very demanding. It does take a lot of time away from the family. So you have to kind of prepare yourself and maneuver, because they're doing the coaching, right? But you know, the wife kind of has to handle other things. Not saying that they're absent, but you know, that's priority, because they have a lot of games they have to attend. They have a lot of practice, you know, or scouting and bringing more players onto the team. It's a lot. And sometimes it could be, you know, it's just not a balance. So I just really think the important thing I would tell that person is to make sure you have a balance, make sure you have the line of open communication, and just make sure your partner is involved. I think bringing the partner involved every step of the way so they can fully understand.
Every step of the way. Go ahead. Tell me more about
them going to the games. Sometimes I'm at the practices. I'll sit there and watch them practice, or just
you don't
ask
watch
questions.
no boys run up and down the court.
I do sometimes, though.
Okay.
I do. But I'm not that type of wife where I'm just sitting there in the stands looking pretty. Like, I'm in the game, I'm talking to them, I'm like, yo, what you doing?
Pretty part on there too.
No, but
keep talking to them.
I am giving them encouragement because it matters to me that much. I feel like they work
you have
so
a sports
hard.
Background? I'm sorry. Do you have
I don't.
Wow, so this is not even
this is all new to
a
me.
Continuation of what you've done. This is you coming in fresh and doing it. What empowers you? I shouldn't say empower. What compelled you to even want to give them encouragement?
Because
you
I
see what
feel
your husband putting on them.
Well, not even that. Because I'll ask him, like, you ready for the game today? And he'll be like, I don't have to play. I'm like, but you want to win? You don't want to lose.
That's a wild Rickman quote right there. I don't got to play.
Right. But it matters to me because they work hard in practices, right? And they don't want to fail. And I don't want to see them fail because we've been there where we're losing the championship and we're crying and getting on the bus and, you know. But I just think that is really important. So I love those kids. They're like my own. I just had a great experience with, you know, from his early coaching career, having some kids, you know, may not have, they have been having maybe some underserved, you know, family situations. Right, and so we would kind of step in, whatever they may need, we would get that for them.
Parents and all that.
Yes.
I think it's very interesting. It's great that you're there to support him, but I think the assumption would be, oh, well, because you used to play or you used to coach or that you're like a sports person in that regard. But you're saying, no, I'm supporting my husband, and this is part of it. I think that's important. You know, we talked offline a little bit about relationships and about how, in my view, as a divorced guy, I was married 9 years. You guys are going on 11. Congratulations. Yes. That I feel that social media, and I might get some comments made about this, but all you really hear is single women talking. And the married women, you don't really hear their voice because y'all busy being married. You at the practices in the game. But just from a married partner perspective, can you just share your view on the importance of partnership and how the experience of a married woman in this world is just different from that of a single woman in whatever way you think?
I think the mindset has to be that if you want to be married, then you're taking on that role of it's a partnership, and that you and your partner are going to do everything possible to work together, whatever that may look like. It can be, you know, starting a business. It can be just whatever. But
what about when you get on each other's nerves and, you know, they really do something that pisses you off? Or
I mean, he would get on my nerves, but we're still going to do what we have to do together.
No, she said he. She didn't say we. She said he get on my nerves. I'm trying to hold it out for you, bro, but hey, we're going to keep it going. But you're right. We get on, that happens. But I just think that our culture is such a swipe right culture or tap out culture or this is not what I thought it was going to be. It's not perfect, and I want to be done. Is it fair to say that that's some part of what the culture is? Some part, not saying all
is,
of it.
But individually, people have to want to fight.
Hold on. Just say that again. People have to want to fight.
People want to fight for
you ain't talking about putting Vaseline on your face and going back and forth.
No, fighting for the relationship.
Yeah.
It gets hard. Yes, you may have times where you just be like, I don't know. But you have to look at the overall goal of, why did I do this? What brought us together in the first place? Let's focus on that so we can stay in that place and it can carry us through.
So you mean the feeling like that wedding day is not always like that all the time? And
it's not. But yeah, it's not like that all the time. But what I can say is you just try to focus on the great things. Like, you have those pros and cons. Like, what outweighs, the good outweighs the bad for me. I'm speaking from my perspective. Because my husband is a great guy. Like, he impacts so many people. And I've seen it over the years. And it's just been amazing to know that, like, talking to the kids and just having those kids come back and come to the games and, become an assistant coach with him. It's just like, you just see it unfold, and it's just like he made a great impression on them, and they look up to him, and they're even, schooling the kids that he's coaching now to say, hey, like, we know what it's like. I know he might be tough, but listen, he's going to get you through. But the great part is, yes, he's a basketball coach, but he focused on the academic piece, which is way more important. Because if you don't have your education, you don't have anything. Or you can go pro, but then if you get hurt, then what do you have to fall back on?
Exactly.
So I think that piece is way more important, which I appreciate that it's not about just the games for him, but the academic piece is first and then basketball second.
Wow. And this is, as the kids say, no cap. Sitting here talking to you, getting to know you and hearing your perspective, I am not surprised at Juan's success, because to be able to go home and if you're his immediate sounding board, if you're his best friend, if you're the person that he can talk to and get some grounding from, I can see that. And it's not to say that a single man out here won't be able to go and be successful, but I can see the benefit of that. I think you've done a great service as it relates to all the wives who are behind their men, supporting them while they're up front in these public roles. And in many cases, they don't know who the wife is and what's going on. With the time we have, are there any last comments you want to make, special shout outs you want to give or whatnot?
I just want to thank you for having me. This was something different that I've never really done.
It's kind of different, huh?
It is, but I love it. And this was one of my goals to kind of, do more interviews.
I was about to say, you ready to start a podcast and doing interviews now?
I can.
Okay, all right.
But I'm just grateful that even just being with him, this has opened up so many doors for me outside of my job. But just to have that opportunity has just really been great for me. So
that's awesome. Any special shout outs? Anybody in particular you want to shout out?
I want to give a shout out to my daughters, Amira, Autumn. Those are my babies. And shout out to my job, Health Alliance Plan.
With the new building, that's.
Well, no, we've been there for about 3 years now. But no, we're expanding.
But you're saying the building that's on the boulevard in Detroit is no longer?
It's not.
So there's no need for people to be out there blowing their horn.
No.
About, where to have people at?
No, but we're always in the community doing great work, spreading all the different product lines that we offer. So we do have Medicare for 65 and older. We have the Medicaid plan. I do want to make a note that if anybody's watching that is on a Medicaid plan, they do need to be mindful about the redetermination process. The state is looking at that globally, and if they are not, getting that paperwork signed and mailed in on time, then they could possibly lose their coverage. Okay,
so it's important to take advantage of that. So this has also been a public service announcement. I want to add, too, the Detroit Wayne Integrated Health Network has been a great partner. I want to thank Coach Rickman, because he was very instrumental in helping me connect with that. And I just want to say thank you. I just know that people are going to really benefit from this message. And then your phone's gonna be blowing up for more interviews. They want to get you to come and talk. And I think that we've highlighted some people worth being highlighted, which are the wives who do so much. So I appreciate you.
Thank you, Lindsay.
Want to wish you the best of luck. And with that being said, this is Lindsay Hustle with SPS, and we'll see you next time. Peace.